When someone is saved from certain death by a strange concentration of circumstances, they say that's a miracle. But of course, if someone is killed by a freak chain of events, the oil spill just there, the safety fence broken just there, that must also be a miracle. Just because it's not nice doesn't mean it's not miraculous. In other words, welcome to the Fluffenhammer. Roll the music!
First here, then there. Make up your mind already.
Death is close. I love the death. Frequently.
Oh, better Discworld, God, that came out of left field, and it's got me feeling all nostalgic.
So earlier on this week, I had a bit of a downswing. You know, my mood just went into the ground like a fucking lawn dart.
Yeah.
And I remembered I had a copy of Feet of Clay, the new hardbacks, to read. And I haven't read Feet of Clay in at least 10 years. Because I'm trying not to read any Pratchett unless it's one of these new hardbacks, because I love these hardbacks. They look gorgeous.
Yeah. New editions, are they?
Yeah. The new editions, they've got this wonderful art on the front. Yeah, love them to bits. So I've been buying them up as and when I can.
Yeah, may have to have a look at those. Oh dear.
Yeah, dangerous. And the best way I can describe it is reading that book gave my brain a nice warm bath.
Yeah.
I came out of reading that book feeling good.
It's so interesting, isn't it? Pratchett deals with some really dark and very profound stuff in the Discworld books. I mean, most of them are about death in one way, shape or form, to some degree. And yet they are like that. They are these very warm, welcoming, very positive experiences, I find.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Watch books, you know, any book that has rhymes in it, it's about injustice. Yeah, it's about the screaming against the dark, because the universe was just going to say, I don't care. Yeah, show me that iota of justice, show me that grain of compassion. But
that's what death says, isn't it? That's the Hogfather speech, isn't it? Grind the universe down to the finest powder and show me one grain of justice. Show me 1 gram of honor or civility. Yeah, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Like, the universe does not care. And yet that is it's not a nihilistic speech.
No, it isn't.
It's a really wonderful speech about how human stories and abstraction mean something against the cold and unfeeling universe.
Humans need fantasy to become the place where the falling angel meets the rising ape.
That image always sticks in my mind. The falling angel meeting the rising ape. Yeah, I love that to bits.
And it was weird because it kind of reconnected me to I don't say the version of me, because that's not the right way of putting it, but it reconnected me to why I think the way I think, and why I have these mood swings, and it really helps. It's one of those things where I know it's cliche for people to say it, but I honestly think that I wouldn't be me if I hadn't have found those books.
No, you wouldn't be. I mean, that's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. I mean, this is what, these things transform the topography of our brains, literally. Yeah. They physically transform us. It's something people don't really comprehend, but like, when we absorb media, when we actually absorb stories, when something moves us emotionally or intellectually or introduces us to new ideas or concepts, we physically transform. Our brain rewires itself, and the physical topography of it changes. It's incredible to think, isn't it?
It really is.
It makes us who we are. Yeah.
And I started reading these books when I was like 11. And I firmly believe that I would be in a much worse state these days if I hadn't found those books.
Likewise.
Being able to go back to it now and use it as an anchor has been incredible.
Yeah. I remember the first one I ever read. I still remember it. I remember where I was. I remember sitting in the armchair in my living room, and it was a library book. It was Interesting Times.
Yeah.
That was the first one I ever read. It was an old, tattered, battered library book that people had clearly taken out quite a lot, you know? And I'd never... my exposure to Discworld up until that point had been the Cosgrove and Hall animated versions. So I know I liked the ideas. I know I liked the stories, you know? So reading it for the first time, I remember sitting there because I read it through in one go. I'd never read anything like it before. And I read it all through in one go, and it made me laugh out loud throughout. It's one of the first books to ever make me laugh out loud before.
He's a master of lateral thinking. Lateral? What's a lateral? Type of muscle, I think.
Type of muscle.
Thinking with your muscles, I see.
Just endless puns and whatnot, yeah.
The fangs, the hongs, the tangs, and the McSweeneys.
So silly. I love it to bits. Love it to bits.
Anyhow, I'm Adam. That's George.
Yes.
And there's Andy.
Hello.
I did it again. I pointed. I don't know why I point when I say that.
Yeah.
How's everyone doing?
I'm tired.
Oh, no, still.
Yes, always tired. Late night streamings all the time now, so I'm very tired a lot.
Right. Oh.
Are you having to get up early during the day, or are you able to sleep in a little bit?
I'm just getting up at the same time as ever because obviously I work every day, so no respite.
No. Oh man.
Oh, dear.
Afternoon naps. No, what I've
so
started
good.
calling nana naps, and they are fantastic.
They're so good, yeah.
I find them very dangerous, though,
be,
because you can easily sleep too long and then feel worse.
Yeah, that's true.
True, it's true, yeah. They need to be finite. They need to be like an hour at most. You know, an alarm somewhere.
Yeah.
Preferably on the other side of the room, so you have to get out of bed to change it.
So you can't just put it onto snooze.
Yeah. That's the important part. Right, okay. Everybody is all good. Everybody is all here.
Yeah.
And I have some things I want to talk about before we get into the main.
Oh, is this before the main
yeah.
subject matter?
Oh.
Okay.
So, Andy.
Me.
Do you remember a while back I told you about Brutal Cunning?
Yes.
The book that is entirely done by the point of view of the 40k orcs.
That's right, and it was meant to be
yes.
kind of just okay, wasn't it?
Well, I've got it.
Okay.
I think the narrator kind of needed to be coached a little bit in his orc voice, which is a
Right.
downside.
Right.
But on the upside, I have 2 scenes I want to tell you about.
Ooh, all right.
And I'm not going to tell you whether I think the book is good or not. I think you can judge for yourself.
Okay.
These 2 scenes.
Interesting.
One is the fact that these orcs took over a human vessel, added something called the Warp Decapitator.
Okay.
It's a good
And
name.
the
Solid
main
name.
the main character spent a little bit of time, because of the warp, being able to see out of his knees.
I kind of like
The other scene involves them invading a Titan. Right? Trying to keep a straight face here. They invade a Titan. They fight their way up to the Princeps. They get in, and the Princeps is just a torso. Tubes coming out of his eyes, tubes coming out of his mouth. He's all wired in. You're a desiccated corpse, no legs. And the orc just goes, "Whoa, that's the weirdest thing I'll see today." And just proceeds to set it on fire.
that's kind of fun.
Brutal Cunning
kinda like
is
that.
an absolute riot. It's really, really good.
So would you say you got past the fact that you didn't like the narrator too much?
I mean, the narrator is good. It's just that his orc voice, it doesn't.
It needs a bit of work.
Yeah, it's a little bit too much like "I'm an orc" rather than "I'm an orc."
Right.
Yeah, it lacks.
Right, so it's almost like someone pretending to be
Yeah.
an orc rather than the sincere.
But once you
thing,
kind of get your head around that and just accept, this is how
Yeah.
it's going to sound.
I mean, have you guys seen the book that's coming out? I think it was previewed on Warhammer Community recently, which is I can't remember what it's called, but it's about the Necrons.
Yeah.
It's Trazin the Infinite and Orican the Diviner.
Yeah,
That has potential to be absolutely hilarious.
that's on pre-order right now. I have it on pre-order for next week.
I hope it's better than
looking forward to
Indomitus.
that.
Because have you either of you done Indomitus?
No.
Not yet. No.
I don't know if I could be bothered, to be honest.
No,
Not great?
it's not very good. It's got some interesting elements to it, but I think
Yeah.
overall I saw people saying it felt very much like a product pushy book, and I would 100% agree with that. It really does. But like I say, it does have these small bits here and there that are interesting, and there's a nice juxtaposition between the Necrons having an incompetent leader and the Space Marines also having an incompetent leader, just for slightly different reasons.
That's interesting. You don't often get that in the 40k books. They tend to be like paragons of what they do, don't they? You know,
the Space Marine dude is very much we need to get a win. We need a win. We need to do this, and the Necron is just your kind of stereotypical royal upperclassman. Like I'm better than everybody. You need to just bow to my will.
Oh, that's fun. I kind of like both of those.
Yeah,
to be honest, that sounds fun.
The problem is the main cast, like they're not. I wouldn't describe them as the main cast, but the main cast are really boring. They're kind of standard, and it's you know how usually the better 40k books don't really have heavy battle involvement.
Yes, that's absolutely true.
This starts off with a campaign straight away, a very minor one against a very small chaos ship. And then it switches over to the Necron stuff about 20 to 30 minutes in from the audio version. And so then it goes to another battle scene, effectively. And I'm like,
Right. As, you know, that tends to be the way with the product-specific books, because they're going for the standard, aren't they?
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
they want to demonstrate that, like, it's a war game and all that kind of thing. But you're right, the better books from the Black Library, they tend to be the more peaceable ones. They're the ones that are character studies.
definitely.
I mean, I'm reading one of the Primarch books at the moment. I'm reading Magnus the Red. I think it's by Nick Kime, that one. Which surprised me, because I would have thought it would be about Graham McNeil. It would be by Graham McNeil, right?
No. I'm sticking to that first sentence. I want somebody in Gibbs Workshop to write a Black Library book about Graham McNeil.
Graham McNeil. Yeah, why not? But it's good. It's really good. It's like you were saying, Andy, there's hardly any combat of any kind in it.
Good.
It's not about that. It's about who Magnus is. It's about who the Thousand Sons are. There's actually a really lovely segment, and it's nothing. All it is Ahriman, and this is obviously pre-heresy Ahriman, so he's quite placid at this point. And Foryx from the Iron Warriors. You know Foryx? Have you come across him?
Yep.
He's a key character who turns up in lots of different books. They're just walking through this like human settlement on a world that they're pacifying. And they're just talking about Olympia, which is where the Iron Warriors come from, and about Prospero, which is where the Thousand Sons come from, and they're discussing differences in their native cultures and the way they come at things, and it's actually really good. I love that to bits.
Okay.
It's fun, you know, it's nice. Do you guys follow Aaron Dembski Bowden at all on any of his social
Follow
media?
him on Twitter, I think.
Yeah, he put up a very teasy, naughty little excerpt from the new Black Legion book that he's writing.
Oh.
That would be volume 3, wouldn't it, at this
That would be
point?
volume 3.
It's been a long time since volume 2 came out, so I'm glad to hear volume 3's finally getting done.
Yeah,
That's great.
Long time since the last one. Can't wait. I mean, the last two were fantastic.
Oh yeah. 100%
They
agree.
are amazing.
Disgustingly good.
Yeah, right.
Did anyone notice the picture of Bowden that turned up on? I can't remember where it was now, but it was somewhere on the Warhammer community site. And they must have like stuck on a picture of him when he was really young and just put it onto one of his.
No,
it's really bizarre. I've never been able to find it again. It turned up a couple of weeks ago. It's just like one of his books was coming out, but instead of having his normal picture, it was a picture of him when he was really young.
Okay, that's weird. That's an odd choice.
Somebody obviously was having a joke, but it's like,
yeah.
Did I just see that? What?
Is it like the image of Nick Roche on the Transformers wiki page with him in his Peter Pan outfit?
Younger than that. Yes.
Okay. Wow. Even younger than that. Jeez.
Wow.
Well, yeah, he was like 24 when he was wearing that Peter Pan outfit.
Was he? Oh God.
He's
I
just a
wouldn't
very
thank
young
Nick
man.
Roche for being 18.
I forgot what I was going to say now. It's gone out my head. Yeah. It's actually weird that you say that, because I was thinking about this the other day, that my favourite book so far in the Black Library this year has been Bloodlines, the Warhammer Crime book. And there's no real violence in that whatsoever. It's because it's an investigation. The violence has already happened before the main character turns up.
Right.
Also, I don't know if I want to spoil that bit or not. No, I'm not going to. I would say actually people read it because there's a subtlety to that book that does something that when you realise what it is and what the character is, and it has no bearing on the story, it's just something about the character that when that penny drops, you just kind of go, well, shit.
Don't you find that's true of the Warhammer horror stories as well, though? Obviously they have violence because of, it's horror, but they tend to be much quieter. They tend to be much more sort of contained in their focus. So it's all about what the characters are experiencing, as opposed to these grander narratives about war and planetary destruction and genocide. And
out of interest, have you read the Colonel's monograph yet?
The Colonel, I think I have read that. Yeah.
That was interesting. That was one I really liked. That and the Oubliette.
The Oubliette. Now I have definitely read that one. Yeah.
The Oubliette was a
Oubliette. It's a lovely word, isn't it? It's gorgeous. Lovely to say.
Unfortunately, I can only
call it my sex room. The Oubliette. The sex pit. No, I welcome the ladies to my Oubliette.
The Oubliette.
Exactly. Yeah. And they go, oh, I like the sound of that.
Isn't that fancy?
Oh, it's very fancy. It's just
God, I don't know why I
just a mattress on the floor with stains on it.
Like Brian's mother, Harridan there.
Out of interest, when they say, ooh, do you go, bliette?
No. I just have an eyebrow raised and I lick my lips while I look at them and go, They run away usually at that point, which is fair.
This is Andy's.
Don't say yeah. Just go, oh. Yeah, I understand. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, you are introducing women to a pit, so
yeah,
an oubliette,
a stained
it's
pit
fancy.
at that from your description.
Yeah,
an oubliette. It's fancy.
Exactly. It's all about presentation.
There's a single red flower in the in the weeds.
Exactly.
But it does lead me to wonder, what other subgenres they could introduce into Warhammer. I mean, there's space for so much, isn't there? There's space for so much. I don't think we'll ever see a Warhammer romance line.
I don't know. It could happen.
I would like to, actually. A part of me would like to see that.
Mills and Blade.
Would you have the context of a romance novel framed in the context of propaganda media? So it's framed around it's a romance novel, and then by the end you find out it was a story written by either the Inquisition to promote this stuff, or it's written by the Tau to try and get relations between races to go up.
That's genius.
That would be brilliant. That's actually a fantastic concept. It's a fantastic concept. That would be brilliant.
Dude, that's amazing.
Go for it. That is a brilliant concept. It really is.
I love between
especially if it plays it to the hill,
Yes, yeah.
It, right to the last page, and then it turns it all around. That is brilliant. Yeah, I like that.
I'm actually floored at how great of an idea that is.
That is really good. It's really good.
I can't write anything, but there you go. I'm an ideas man.
Don't write it out. Just act it out with sock puppets.
Oh wow, that's lucky for me. I've got lots of socks.
I just love the idea of some inquisitorial scribe, having to write this stuff.
So what do we have? We have action, obviously. Yeah. We have crime now. We have horror now.
Horror.
We've discussed romance.
Science fiction is redundant.
Obviously. Yeah, no point there.
I mean, I would like to see a crime story that goes hell for leather into the. I was going to say Raymond Briggs. That's the guy who wrote The Snowman. That's not who I'm thinking of at all.
That's not quite the same. You mean Raymond Chandler, don't you? You mean Raymond Chandler. Yeah. You're going Hard Boiled.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. Raymond Chandler, not Raymond
Briggs.
Yeah, Fungus the Pokemon is a private detective.
The snowman would be a demon. It's a supernatural phenomenon. It's a psychic projection. Burn the child.
No, I'll tell you what it is. It's somebody searching for the body of Jack Frost from that Michael Keaton film, and they discover the snowman, which then gives them the realization that there's life after death, and then all of a sudden all these snowmen start appearing everywhere as everybody starts returning from the dead in some kind of snowy redemption.
Oh no, and then you can have the Jack Frost from the horror movie Jack Frost.
The Jack Frost horror movie isn't as scary as the Jack Frost Christmas family film. I'm telling you that right now. The
I
Michael
agree.
Keaton film is terrifying, mostly because when he dies, he turns into a George Clooney looking motherfucker. That is bizarre to me. That's because it was meant to be George Clooney, and when Michael Keaton took over, it was too late to change the snowman.
Right. Okie doke.
I think George Clooney dodged a bullet.
Well, yeah, do you know what George Clooney was doing that year?
What was he doing?
Batman and Robin.
Oh, no, he didn't.
So
then.
maybe, so dodged a bullet.
Michael
and
Keaton
moved into
went
the
in
way
to a
of like
film that George Clooney came out of to do Batman. Just chew on that one for a moment. That's up there with the fact that the Garfield Peter Venkman thing passing back and forward. You know, it's nah.
Well, kind of what it is stepping out of the way of a bullet and into the path
An
of
oncoming
just a
train,
tidal wave of a tsunami of sewage. Yeah.
It always amazes me that George Clooney survived that.
But no, I'm with you, Adam. I'd love to see like a really hard-boiled Raymond Chandler-style private detective story in the 40k universe, like in Necromunda maybe, or somewhere like that. You know, where they have to go into the Underhive and go into all the dirty, seedy bars and deal with like the crime bosses and whatnot, the gang leaders. And I think that'd be great fun, and it should have the same tone.
Yeah,
it should even have like the language. You know,
absolutely.
That has to be in the works. Someone has to be writing that, or at least has the idea of that, because it seems like too good of an idea not to do.
Well, I mean, the minute they announced Warhammer Crime, that's what everybody thought. I guarantee you, the first thing everybody thought was that.
Sure, yeah.
But then, of course, you've got lots of other stuff they could do as well. They could go like, sort of like the Martin Scorsese, route, the crime ensemble piece. That'd be fun too.
Oh, I'd like to see a heist movie.
Yeah,
A rattling heist movie.
Yeah, that could be fun.
That would be so
You could frame that around maybe a Blackstone Fortress kind of.
Oh,
frame,
yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah. So you've got your specialists and whatnot. Yeah, actually set it on precipice. Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be brilliant.
I am. Good God, is everyone just going to start coming out with good ideas today?
The good ideas.
Yeah, I'm just going to sit here being dumb and not thinking of any good ideas.
Considering that, like, this is going to be aired, I'm not going to tell you the idea that I've just finished for the Warhammer Horror Open submissions that are coming up.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you until we're off air.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else you could do. I mean, the problem.
Genre-wise.
Yeah, the problem is, I think that there are certain ones it would be very hard to make fit.
Political drama? You could go for political drama. That'd be fun.
What I'd like to see is some kind of Rumpole of the Bailey style experience, where the laws of the Imperium get called into question, and someone being tried for whatever. Not a military trial, because we've had. In like the Cyphers Kane books, we've had military trials.
Sort of had that, yeah.
But I'd like to see somebody being put up for
heresy.
But no, because I think once you do that, it's automatic shooting, isn't it? There's no trial.
Oh, there's no trial at all.
You need to have something that's more like an embezzlement or something akin to that. But then how do you do that and keep it 40k without it becoming...
Keep it 40k, yeah, that's tricky.
Yeah.
Do you think it needs to be 40k, or do you think that idea could work better, at least work easier, in AOS? Because heresy might not get you instant killed.
Yeah, that's true.
Unless you live in
depending whereabouts you do it, I guess.
If you're in Asia, it would get you killed.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a zero tolerance realm,
And I would say that political drama, I would be more interested to see how Order gets along with all of its the cow elves and the shadow elves and all that stuff. I think having something like that would be nice. You can bring a racial
tension in then, can't you? And there's religious tensions obviously already.
Because we already know that Marathi's kind of on the edge. So having stuff with her cultists or her ladies doing some stuff,
shady shenanigans.
Yeah, that could. But
I think. I mean, don't get me wrong. They absolutely they would. But even more fun would be if you have someone like very suspicious of them who maybe sees something they're not supposed to see. trying to convince the other forces of order that we need to destroy them. They are evil. Blah 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 blah. That'd be kind of fun too.
Who was the guy from the Silver Shard? The witch hunter guy.
I always get the names kind of muddled together. Callus and Tolliver.
Yeah, I think he would be maybe a good catalyst for that, since he's kind of a detective. In that sense.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking the guy running around trying to tell people that something's happening and no one believing him. That kind of gets done in City of Secrets, doesn't it?
Ah, right.
I think. I mean, I'd like to see something that would be more akin to a courtroom drama than a political intrigue, because it would be interesting to get into how that works in 40k. I think you're absolutely right. I think in AOS it'd be much easier because you can.
It's more tolerant, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bizarrely, in 40k, it's just like, even the slightest deviation, you're dead. They're just going to kill you.
But then when you have a planet of millions upon millions of people, and somebody kind of slips through for whatever reason, I think it's easier to hide from that as well. I think it's probably also easier to argue the point, because there's going to be so many interlocking laws that play against each other. A courtroom drama could be something that'd be bogged down for years.
That could be like a focal point of the story. The fact that this massive bureaucracy that's not kept terribly well in terms of its records. People don't even know what the laws are that apply. You've got all of these various sort of archaic, elaborate laws that people can't properly access or properly read even. Yeah. That'd be kind of fun.
Are we suggesting that during a trial a guy employs the Chewbacca defense and it works? Because technically that is kind of what you're suggesting, and I think that would work well as a
Yamgal gene stealers are from Yamgal.
They deserve a right to live. The cultists deserve a right to spread their gene stealer seed.
I would love to see a bleeding heart libertarian appear in the middle of 40k.
Oh my god, Jesus Christ.
Does the Emperor not love all?
So it's the campaign for equal heights.
Jesus Christ. A libertarian in 40k, which is like the most heavily governmental society imaginable, they'd just be shot immediately.
Does the Emperor not love all humankind?
Not when they don't toe the party line, he doesn't know.
No, he doesn't. No.
I mean, he's got this libertarian getting haunted. It'd be like Scrooge, like Thingy Before Christmas, where he gets haunted by 3 ghosts all telling him to be less libertarian. The Emperor just turned up and says, "Stop trying to love everyone."
The most wanted man for need of assassination.
It's a crime for being nice.
Yeah.
Oh man, actually, I'm into this. But the other thing that I wanted to quickly bring up before we get into sort of the news of the last couple of weeks is so I got the Lumineth book.
Ah, yes. Oh, God, I want that book so much.
There are 3 bullet points I want to raise with you, you fellas. Right? 1. This is the Craft World Eldar done in fantasy.
I thought I had a feeling it might be. I had a feeling.
And you know what?
Does
it works better than the Craft World Eldar.
Okay.
Because it gets into the detail and the sociological reasons for why they go the way they do. So instead of being a giant, great big space elf orgy, which is what the Craft Eldar do, they all became heavily emotionally invested in things, in what they did. So
it's like the past. Yeah. It's like it's like the obsessions of the Eldari.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, and that's why they have to like basically take these mood suppressants in the form of the magic stones.
They kind of like infuse their emotions into this stuff, don't they? They sort of like seep it out of themselves.
They bleed
so they become less emotional.
Yeah, it's
so weird. Such a great concept.
Yeah, it is, and they're absolutely fantastic. The second bullet point I've got is I love how much they are order. Right? They are order. Now, don't get me wrong. Order isn't good.
Yeah.
Right? They decide that there's too much chaos in a certain area. They will go in and they will raise that place to the ground, and they will destroy it, and they will salt the earth to make sure nothing ever stood. And
because of their past with Slaanesh, presumably.
Absolutely. Any villages and towns that are in the way, bye. They will be slaughtered.
So the extreme Stormcast taken to the extreme.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
So, the thing is, it could be as simple as a cow was born with 2 heads, and this gets back to a local Lumineth conclave. The Lumineth go, right, that is probably a chaotic mutation. They will go to that area, and they will set it aflame. They will destroy it utterly, to the point where people will forget that there was ever anything there. Yeah.
Right.
So the people who were there will be exterminated. There is no other word for it. They will be exterminated. These are not good guys. Yeah. At all. They're horrific.
I kind of like that.
And the third bullet point, let me tell you a tale. Is everyone sitting back? Everyone sitting comfortably? Mm-hmm. So Tyrion.
Ah, yeah. Where is he? What's he doing?
Where he is now, I don't know. But I know where he was when the Mortal Realms were born. Okay. He was wandering around, talking to the moon. Right?
Okay.
The bad moon?
No, just the moon. The moon of Azir. And in talking to the moon, he talked about how much he missed his brother.
Right.
And how much he wished his brother was with him. And the moon did him a favour and gave him his brother. Teclis isn't fucking real.
I was going to... Yeah, so is Teclis like a projection or like a conjuration of some
It doesn't come out and say it. It never comes out and says it. But
it just implies,
my theory is, you know that great big winged thing that flies around with Teclis? That's Teclis. Yeah. Or that's what people think is Teclis. I don't think Teclis is real. I think Teclis is an extension of the moon spirit.
Right. Okay. Now that's interesting.
I think Teclis died in the end times.
Right. And this is like a I don't know, a spectre or projection of his memories and
I think it's what Tyrion wanted. I think it's Tyrion's memories of him.
Right. So interesting. I like that.
Oh, I really like it because it means that Teclis has managed to fuck up even when he's not real.
Well, no. That just means that his brother's opinion of him is a failure.
Wow.
Right?
Yes. I miss my clownish brother.
Man, he fucked up a lot. I hope he's not like that again, but that's how I remember him.
So what we're going to do first? Fish people. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Teclis.
Oh, that lad. Oh, what a joker.
You know, he was bad enough when he was just a mage. Now he's a god.
But he's not a god because I don't think he's real.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, it doesn't come out and say it. It's just these... The way I read these little bits, that's how I took it. I think that he's not real. I think he's a...
Have you seen the rules for him, Adam?
Say again?
Have you seen the rules
for him? Yes, I have.
Friggin' mental.
Yeah, I mean, that's toe-to-toe with Nagash level mental.
At least, yeah. In terms of magic, it's madness.
That's not just in magic. It's like, look at the amount of bloody wounding he can do.
Yeah. It's crazy that that he can just cast spells without having to cast them. They just activate. That is mad.
It is. I think he might be a little bit... Well, I say that. He's not too powerful because have you seen the points cost?
Yes,
Ooh.
yeah. He's a... And it makes sense. He's the god of Hirsch, It makes sense. It's in the same way, Nagash is overpowered as well. They're supposed to be.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. If you put Nagash or Teclis or whoever down, they should be overpowered. Alariel, too.
Alariel's got like a nice little stat line. It's like, oh, jeez Louise.
A giant beetle.
Yeah. I still find it weird that we haven't had a Avatar of Sigmar yet.
Me too. I mean, it makes so much sense. If you can have Nagash, if you can have Tyrion, you can have at least an avatar of Sigmar.
I think
like
they're
a lightning
waiting.
Lord.
Yeah, I think they're waiting for a big push against Chaos, and then that'll be when Sigmar comes off his chair.
You only gets Gal Maraz back.
Yeah.
Hasn't he got Gal Maraz back now?
I don't think he has yet.
Somebody's got it, hasn't they? One of the Stormcast has it.
I was going to say, isn't the Celestant Prime or someone like that wields it at the minute? I can't remember off the top of my head. I know that some Zeech sorcerer had it.
Yeah, and
way back when.
At the dawn of the Age of Sigmar.
That was a long time ago, though.
It's weird, isn't it? It feels like it was a couple of months, but also feels like it was a couple of decades. It's very odd.
Yeah, it was a while ago. Because didn't Archaon sort of trick Sigmar into throwing it through a gate to portal?
And then it landed in the mountain, and
that's right.
There was a little rumor kicking around that it went through Grungy.
Right, yes, yeah.
That's why nobody's seen him for a while.
I was reading the Wrath of the Everchosen book, the add-on to the Slaves to Darkness book. God, Archaon is a badass, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he is so strong. It's unbelievable.
They actually made him into an interesting character again with that book. The Everchosen book, because he's
definitely
the problem I've always had with Archaon is he's too much of a puppet.
He was just a vessel for the gods once upon a time.
He's just power given legs,
Not anymore.
No, and he's really started to get a good personality to him, and
he's got this sort of anti-metaphysical bent where he doesn't like gods at all.
No,
he wants to end the age of gods. That's all of them. All of them, including the chaos powers, and he wants the age of men to arise, Unfortunately, if that happens, it'll be under his banner and under his his ideology, which is not necessarily a good one.
When I was reading that book, I started thinking, what would he sound like? And I came to the conclusion that I want him to sound like old man Alec Guinness.
Archaon is one of those mythic characters, isn't it? I imagine if you hear him speak, it would cause your ears to bleed and your mind to erupt with hideous visions and stuff like that. Because he is on the level of the gods. He is one of the godly characters. He's not as good at magic as either Teclis or Nagash, obviously. But if you put him toe to toe with either Teclis or Nagash, he's gonna friggin' wreck.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's a sledgehammer. Whilst Nagash and Teclis have the ability to sit back and whittle things down and do damage from afar. Archaon is just literally get in there, destroy.
Well, he's got a special rule, if I remember correctly, whereby if he hits something with
Slayer of Kings,
the blade, the Slayer of Kings, you roll a dice, and if it's a particular roll, they just die. They just die.
If I remember lore-wise, didn't Archaon kill Nagash at least twice at this point?
Yep.
Yeah.
And Catacross the undefeated.
Catacross the ever defeated.
Many times, apparently. Many times.
I don't know if I mentioned it before on the show, but have you ever seen a film called Trio? Right.
No.
It's a film by Alan Smithy. But the idea is that the director was a guy actually called Alan Smithy.
Oh, okay.
If you know the Alan Smithy thing, then you know why that's funny. I think it's brilliant. Alan Smithy, played by Eric Idle, having a breakdown. It's fantastic.
Right. Okay.
But you've got Jackie Chan in there. So you've got Sylvester Stallone, Jackie Chan, and Whoopi Goldberg as the three main heroes of this film that never got made. And they play these cartoon versions of themselves. And Jackie Chan has this amazing bit that every time I hear about Catacross, I always think of Jackie Chan doing this. And it's him just punching away at a martial arts mini tubed thing. And he just keeps going, if I die, then it's a film. So I don't die. So I win. If I die, then I come back with the sequel. And thus I win. I don't die. I never die. I'm immortal. I've never been killed.
That's pretty much the joke, isn't it? For Catacross, definitely. He is technically undefeated in the sense that he hasn't been destroyed.
But he was kept in a shoebox for 20 years.
Yeah, he's in any reasonable terms or definition, he's been defeated a lot.
Yeah, he keeps getting his ass whooped, and I was annoyed at the end of the Everchosen because Archaon just kicks him in the non-existent nuts and just
pretty
done.
Much.
Go away.
Yeah,
it's
pretty much.
Come on.
You're only defeated if you stay down.
Yeah. I like the fact that Archaon's annoyed with it because he has to leave off what he's doing to go and sort out Catacross, That's amusing. I mean, I love that little story in the Everchosen book, where Slanesh is talking to Archaon. because Archaon has found where Slaanesh is and is trying to break the chains holding him, and Slaanesh is kind of like treating him like a lover who's come courting, you know, and Archaon is like, oh, shut up, I'm gonna leave you here, you know.
Just stop talking.
He's got like absolute contempt for Slaanesh. I just love the fact that Slaanesh talks as well.
That is so
you know,
cool.
One of the Chaos Gods actually talks, you know, which is fun. You don't see that often.
No, I mean,
it's rare.
You have that bit in, was it Forbidden Power? I think it was in Forbidden Power, where, no, it wasn't. It was in Soul Wars, the Malign Portents book, where all of the gods turn round when Nagash sets off his great spell. And each and every one of them react to it, and you get to see the ego that is the Chaos Powers, and that blew me away, because I think that was good fun. First time that they became characters in their own rights.
I can think of 2 other instances where Chaos God actually talks directly to a character in the Thousand Suns background. When Magnus is about to destroy Ahriman and his cabal for casting the rubric of Ahriman. It's Zeech who stops him.
Right.
He basically whispers into his mind and said, no, they did what I wanted them to do, so stop it. There's also... Nurgle talks quite a lot.
He
Nurgle's
does,
quite
actually.
Chatty, you know, he's a bit of a chatty Cathy. At the end of The Buried Dagger... spoilers, by the way, guys, if you haven't read The Buried Dagger, skip ahead a little bit. He talks directly to Mortarion. Like, directly to him. Which is kind of fun. I do like hearing Nurgle talk because he's kind of jolly.
Oh, he's just happy. He's just always so happy about everything.
It happens in Soul Hunter as well, if you've read that. The Aaron Dembski Bowden not Night Haunter, Night Lord series.
Yes, yeah.
Not much, but there's a little bit in there.
Yeah.
A little bit.
A little
Teensy-weensy bit, yeah.
As each of the 4 try and convert the main character over to their side.
Yeah, there's a little bit in there, definitely. Actually, there's a teensy-weensy bit in the Black Legion books as well, where they're trying to sway Abby-Dabby-Doobadon.
That's right, yeah.
Doesn't work.
Okay, you've just created in my brain an idea for a musical based on Abaddon, using nothing but changed up ABBA lyrics. So I'm going to work on that now. And Vigilus, burning down what you do.
Oh my God, no.
Yep.
Get ready for next month's episode, or next week's episode, when there'll be a full song sung.
Full song.
Patreon exclusive.
I'm thinking the Patreon exclusive musical here.
Okay. Yeah.
But only for the son of Gary Busey.
The ultimate tier.
For people who don't actually know about this, which I don't know if everyone does, on our Patreon at the moment we do have I think it's a £13,000 a month Patreon tier, which is only for the son of Gary Busey. I refuse to call him his proper name. I did look it up, but it's if you are the son of Gary Busey, we have a tier just for you.
All right, fair enough.
I think fatherhood's done something to me, you know.
No, it really hasn't.
Yes.
But yeah, the Lumineth.
Yeah, I mean, I really like them. I think they're not. I'm not interested in getting an army because, God, time.
Right.
Also, I'm still not a huge fan of the high elf style. It's not for me. But the book is great. The book is fantastic. There's a lot of really interesting stuff. I'm not going to get into huge amounts of detail about it because I do say go and read it because it is a really, really good battle tome. It continues that current battle tome feel that they've had, which is, each one that comes out is just an absolute work of art.
Yeah, I really can't complain about the battle tomes. They're such beautiful books. They're such brilliant books to read.
I need to get hold of the new Seraphon one because people keep telling me that it fixes the Seraphon.
Yeah, I'm interested in that, definitely. I mean, for my money to really fix the Seraphon, they need to do the miniatures range as well. Yeah. Their aesthetics need fixing because they still feel like a bit of a sore thumb. They feel out. They feel strange in AOS to me at the moment.
They work with the physical version, which the crashed spaceship version and the spawning pit version, but the celestial made of light version, they don't at all.
Yeah. I want to go for one or the other. You know?
Yeah, but I think it's nice to be able to have the choice in the new book. But I can't say anything about it because I haven't read it yet. But it is on my to-do list.
No.
I do intend to get it just to go through it and see what it's like. I want to start reviewing these things actually for the YouTube channel.
Yeah, it is good fun, isn't it? I mean, I did a little bit of that for the Ages of Chaos.
Yeah.
You know, that was fun. I mean, I actually rewatched the one I did on the 4th Ed Chaos Codex recently, the negative one. That was fun because I spent the whole thing apologizing for it. It's sort of like, I hate this, but sorry. You know, sorry to be so negative, sorry to be a downer.
Because I really want to go through all the ones for Second Ed Age of Sigmar, because they have been astonishingly good.
They've been really good. I've loved I've got all of the updated Chaos books now. Brilliant. I mean, they're all of such a great quality. Chaos is in such a good place in AOS right now.
Yeah, it really is.
Such a good place. I mean, the Slaves to Darkness book for your Undivided stuff, that's great. It's wonderful. The God-specific books are absolutely stunning. And I think that's where they should go in 40k now.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I want the God-specific books now. I don't want an all-singing, all-dancing Chaos Codex. You know? I mean, that should exist, obviously, for the Undivided Legions and everything. Definitely, absolutely. But let it be its own thing, you know, let it evolve into its own thing, and let the cult legions and whatnot, and the God-specific terms have all the demons and stuff in them. I think that's the way they should go.
Yes and no. I mean, I think that just because it works for AOS doesn't mean they automatically should shift it over to 40k. There has been a bit of that of late.
Definitely,
testing things in AOS and then moving over to 40k.
And then moving it to 40k,
But I would like AOS to have its own feel and its own style of releases. The cross-pollination,
right?
I understand why they would do it. I'd be happy if they didn't do it for everything.
No, it's just certain ideas I think are really good. Like, for example, I don't see why, you know, the Disciples of Zeech have got the fate dice thing. That's a great mechanic. That is such a Zeechian mechanic, isn't it? It's so wonderful because it plays with random chance. It plays with fate. Literally, it's really good. I don't see why the Thousand Sons don't have that too. You know, or something like it. It works so well.
I think with the Thousand Sons, it'd be better to have like a bag full of counters and you just pull it out. Yeah, so instead of having like a dice roll, you know, roll the dice and then you can add and minus it depending on what number's on your counter.
Or something like, you know, for the Death Guard, like a Cycles of Nurgle.
Yeah,
mechanic.
that thing's great.
I don't understand why you don't have that, you know? Yeah. It would make a lot of sense.
Just as long as nobody gets a bad moon, because the bad moon mechanic in the Gloom Spike is great.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see, you know, that wouldn't fit definitely in 40k, but but you know what I mean? Just give them a bit more intrigue. But it does look like that's what's happening. I mean, if you look at what's going on in the new Necron Codex, what we know of it, you've got things like the command protocols. You see in this system, which is really cool. You decide on them before the battle. You decide on what command protocols you're going to bring into play at the beginning of each turn, and that they have different implications and effects in each different phase. So you have to plan very early on what you're going to do, how your army is going to function and react. It's very tactical, it's very clever, and it's very, 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 very Necron.
Yeah, it is.
I love that. I really love that. I want to see something similar for each army, something that qualifies the way they work and feel on the battlefield.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. You can see the testing that started with the AdMech Codex, where I can't remember what they're called, Castellan robots. Is that right?
I think it's something like that.
Where they had that goes right back to Rogue Trader. Rogue Trader started that particular mechanic off, where you have to put the command protocol, so to speak, in place. So you can see the evolution of that into what we get with the Necrons. And I think you're absolutely right. The more stuff like that you get in each codex and each battle tome, the more each army feels like it's a separate thing. The problem there, of course, is it means that everything gets folded back into the bloody Space Marines. And
that is, I mean, as much as I enjoy what they're doing at the moment, that is an issue.
It is, because
it's an issue. I'm kind of tired of the Space Marines having everything.
Yeah.
They always will, unfortunately. I think at this point, just because they are the poster boys, it just makes sense.
It is frustrating, though.
Yeah,
I don't
agreed.
want, there's no way in hell any Space Marine army should have the psychic potential of the Thousand Sons. No. Don't get me wrong, the Thousand Sons should have their inbuilt weaknesses as well. They should be terrible in close combat, for example. Terrible in close combat. But there's no way any loyalist Space Marine army should have the same psychic potential as the Thousand Sons. In the same way, there shouldn't be really any loyalist chapter or legion that has the same resilience as the Death Guard, yeah? But that's not necessarily the case at the moment, so we'll see how it goes, yeah?
I mean, it's one of those weird things where it shouldn't annoy me, but it keeps annoying me that the Primaris have anti-grav.
I know what you mean. It's one of those things where there was a time when anti-grav was the prerequisite of the alien races, the Xenos races, because the Imperium had lost the means of making it. It showed how degenerate the Imperium had become, The fact that it had lost so much technology over these 10,000 years, but it is creeping in a hell of a lot at the moment. I mean, you've got entire, you can build almost entire armies around it with the Adeptus Custodes, of course.
Yeah, of course you can.
Anti-grav jet bikes.
It's weird, it doesn't annoy me with the Custodes. That works. It's just the Primaris. And I don't know if it's because I love big tanks. And having them float just seems wrong to me. I mean, I understand that in the lore, the Eldar, so the Eldari, slipping up there, they smoothly slide around as if they're like snakes on water. Whilst the Primaris ones is basically punching the ground until they stays in the air. But from looking at it on the table, it just kind of feels weird to me even now. I'm an old man, I understand that. I don't like change.
It is another example, isn't it, of the Primaris getting everything.
It is.
Technically, the Eldari are the ones that should have the most in the way of anti-grav, because that's how they're characterized. It's how their technology is characterized. But there is a creeping amount of anti-grav for the Primaris now.
And I realise that this is a really weird place to get hung up, but it's...
No, it's an odd hill to die on.
It is, it really is. And, I promise you, I don't think about it that much.
No, it's not a big deal. It's really not. It's just, it would be nice to have some checks and balances on the Space Marines.
It would.
On the loyalist Space Marines. It would be nice if they didn't have so you've got your Thousand Sons, your Rubricae, right? They do a very specific thing. But there are hard counters and examples of them in the Primaris, And it's like, why do you have them as well? It's slightly frustrating, and it does have that quality, that character of bleeding the other armies of their feeling, of their ethos,
I think the reason it sticks in my mind so much is that I am first and foremost a narrative player. I love the narrative. And so when you have the Primaris getting everything, you start to wonder, why is humanity on the back foot here? It's just one of those things. There's a real disconnect between the tabletop and the fiction.
Yes, I'm a big believer that armies, even in mechanical terms, not just in background terms, but in mechanical terms, to make them fun to play, they should be defined by their weaknesses as much by their strengths.
Of course, yeah.
Which is why I really like the armies that are very specific, the ones that are funneled down particular avenues, like the Thousand Sons. They do particular things very well, and then they're crap at everything else. That's what they're supposed to be, That's what they're supposed to do. They rely on their psychic powers, and that's almost it.
Yeah.
That's almost it, and that's fine. That's the way they should be. But when you've got the armies that are sort of all singing, all dancing, and can just do everything, it can be problematic.
Andy, I don't know if you agree with me on this one, but like the Nighthaunt are a perfect example of that in AOS. They are a perfect glass cannon. if you can funnel everything correctly, they will decimate your opponent. If you get it wrong, they will be decimated quickly.
The problem is the Nighthorns seem to be incredibly specific. Their units are either... Even their best units are very difficult to use. The Nighthorns, like, from what I've seen online, people talk competitively, they're not very good.
No, they're
just
not
because
top
of
tier,
how... No, just because of how specialized each unit has to be. And even the Horde unit isn't good at being a Horde unit, really.
Right.
So the Nighthorns are a very, very, very specialized army to the point where it probably rules and game-wise kind of nukes itself in a lot of ways.
Yeah. So kind of the opposite of the Ossiarch Bone Reapers in that regard.
Yeah, that seems to be the case.
Because they're like, the Ossiarchs are just ridiculously powerful. They're really good.
I think it was the problem of the Nighthorn coming out when they did. Them being the first big... proper hard push with Soul Wars.
Yes.
And the changing style. So obviously armies later on down the line get a lot better as they go.
Yes,
just
that's
they
absolutely
learn.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, again, you look at the Ossiarch Bone Reapers book, and it's an army that just does away with an entire mechanic of the game, which is the psychology.
Yeah.
They're just immune.
Yeah.
They're just immune. They just don't run away.
In terms of Space Marines, I think having them as the Jack of all trade is fine. I think the problem is the scale of how good they are at being the Jack of all trade. It's Jack of all trade, Master of none, but for Space Marines, it seems to be Jack of all trade, Master of all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does seem to be the thing, especially since the Primaris have made the scene.
Yeah, so if they took that away and made it so they were good, they just weren't amazingly good in those fields.
That's it.
Fine.
That's exactly
That's
it. I mean,
okay.
don't get me wrong. The Space Marines, in background terms, you're supposed to be scared of them. They're supposed to be amazingly good at what they do. But they're also supposed to be very finite. There aren't supposed to be many of them. And that should be how you balance it out. With prohibitive points costs and whatnot. So they're small armies. They're small but elite, yeah?
Yeah.
But that's not really the case. I don't know, because of course we've got the new codex coming up.
And we don't really... We know kind of an idea of what's in it, but not the full extent.
We don't know the full extent. I mean, I'm really... Don't get me wrong. I've pre-ordered it. I'm really excited to have it. I really am. Probably more excited than I am for most previous Space Marine releases, because it looks like a lot has changed for Ninth Ed.
Massively so, yeah.
It really does. I mean, one of the big things that they came out with recently, which has changed the dynamic of the whole game, is that characters no longer benefit from their own aura abilities. Which is great. That's such a brilliant change, because the problem with 8th Ed, one of the minor I loved 8th Ed. I think it's probably one of the best versions of 40k that we've had, but one of the big problems is that you did get this castling thing going on, where you had as many characters with aura abilities as you could clumped together, and then you had elite units clumped around them, so everyone was benefiting from these aura abilities, and then you just threw that at the enemy. You can't do that anymore.
That's what you do in Total War Warhammer 2. If you take a all-hero army, they have army benefits. If you have your lord who has let's just make up numbers, because +4 to melee, and then you have 19 other heroes that also have a +4 to melee ability. The skyrocket on some of these armies is mad. I've put up some of the videos that people have done on YouTube on the Fluffenhammer page, and you can just see how stupid a hero-only army can be, and it sounds like it's the same kind of thing that was carried over to the at least 8th Ed.
Absolutely, and now they've done away with that. You also have the notion of core. So what they've introduced is the notion that aura abilities generally will only affect certain kinds of unit now. So your heroes will only affect core units, which usually refers to infantry, which is really clever. Again, you're going to have to... It introduces some lovely new tactical elements to the game, because you're going to have to think about where you put your hero characters, where you put your independent characters, and how they're situated with regards to the rest of the army. Then you're going to have characters like, for example, the Lord Discordant in the Chaos Space Marines, yeah? His aura abilities will not affect core units, but will affect things like demon engines and whatnot. So again, you're going to have to think about where you position them in relation to certain other units. It's really clever, and it's a way of breaking up this castling thing that was happening.
I imagine you'll also have to think about how quickly and how fast units are moving, because you want to keep them in tow with that unit. But if that unit is either super fast or super slow compared to the units it's buffing, you'll need to dance it about, I guess.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. So you're going to get like armies that function thematically in a way that makes sense now. So you're not going to, you are going to have things like the Lord Discordant will be with his pack of demon engines, because that's what he affects, yeah? He's not going to be over here with your Chaos Terminators or whatever, because that's where your Chaos Lord will be. It makes sense. It makes sense from a narrative perspective. And it just introduces some nice solutions to problems that have built up through 8th Ed.
Right.
Yeah, it's a nice idea. Yeah. It's a nice idea.
So the question then I have to ask is, what do you think the codices? Codices? That's the word.
I think. I mean, there's some debate as to what the plural is, but technically it's codices.
I got kind of like stuck in my own brain there, just like codexes, codices,
Codexes, codices. It doesn't matter.
You say tomato, I say tomato. Let's just call the whole thing off. What I was going to ask there was, what do you think this is going to look like by this time next year?
I honestly don't know. It looks like they're going hard on releasing the codexes and getting them out there. It really looks like they're going hard. I was not expecting the amount of releases that we're getting before Christmas.
No.
Purportedly, I was not expecting that. I think any range that has the full miniatures is going to be out very soon.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think they're holding others back. Like, I don't know, things like the Tyranids, maybe, the Chaos Space Marines, you know. Those are the ones that are going to be held back, where there's gaps in the miniatures range and where they're going to have to release new stuff. Thousand Suns, obviously, they're going to have to hold them back. Demons, they're going to have to hold them back. Orcs, they're going to have to hold them back a little bit. Others, I think, they are going to be out in pretty short order. I really do.
I've got a weird fear that the Tyranid Codex is going to just basically be a reprint of the last one.
That would be bad. Yeah. That would be bad. I mean, don't get me wrong, the 8th Ed Tyranid Codex is actually pretty good. It's
superb.
Fine, you know?
It's in the same way that the Orc Codex for 8th was just basically a reprint of 7th.
7th Ed, yeah, which was a bad move.
It was.
That was a bad move because it just didn't. The 7th Ed one wasn't that well received in and of itself,
No, it's weird how that one worked. Yeah, it was literally just to get those new buggies out.
That's right, yeah.
I think what we're going to see as well is a lot more in the way of new miniatures releases with the codices, and also it looks like we're going to have narrative campaigns. That seems to be the scuttlebutt at the moment. So it's going to be like 2 armies released every so often, and there's going to be a narrative campaign and a box that goes with them that sort of explores who they are as an army, starting with an Indomitus, obviously. So that's kind of cool. I like that. I do like that idea. Some armies do need a lot given to them. They need to bring them up to a functionable standard. I mean, the Eldari...
I mean, this is assuming that that'll even happen, because at this point, it might just be a joke within GW to never update those warriors. Same for the Orcs. It might just be an inside joke, and them go, nah, not this time.
You never know. You never know. But a lot of armies do need a real, a bit of a shot in the arm, just to plug gaps in their miniatures range and tactical gaps as well to make them more functional. But I mean, I'm excited for 9th Ed. I really am. I mean, excitement was high for 8th Ed as well, because it was, it's such a dramatic change from 7th Ed. It really was. It was one of the most dramatic changes the game has ever had. This isn't that dramatic, but still, there's a lot of stuff. Like, did you see the latest release about the stratagems?
I did, yes.
That was interesting. So instead of just having stratagems, you've now got specific types of stratagems that can be deployed at particular times in the battle, which is kind of fun. Again, introducing a new tactical element. So there are your classic stratagems, which I think are called battle tactics stratagems, which can be activated in like the fight phase or the shooting phase, and they do things like give you bonuses or whatever. But there are also command protocols as well, like command stratagems that can be activated in the command phase, and they do more army-wide things. So you have to think about as and when you're activating these things, because you could find yourself having skipped over like the command phase, and then you're like, I should have activated this at this time to give me this bonus. I didn't anticipate that situation coming up. It's kind of clever. It's kind of fun.
I like the idea of the epic deed stratagems.
I like that too.
That's really interested me. The idea that you can do things that would get basically someone singing a song about it over the next couple of years.
It's more narrative, isn't it? That seems to be like the big push for Ninth Ed. They're going heavy on narrative. Yeah. They want the battles to feel almost like role play, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, they've gone back to Rogue Trader for a lot of ideas. Yeah. It's so bizarre that they've gone to mine Rogue Trader of all things.
Oh, right. Who would have thought that?
Well, exactly. Why? Why would anyone do that?
Yeah.
But they've done it really well. They've taken what works, jettisons what doesn't, and made it into something that's really interesting, to the point where I'm struggling to not play 40k, or to not get into 40k.
Yeah.
I've always said that I can't get into 40k because I'm heavy into AOS, and 40k is just a step too far of too many things to do.
Yeah.
Do AOS, do... Warcry, there's plenty of other stuff that I do that isn't GW, and it's but 40k looks so good now. Oh,
it does,
God
doesn't
damn
it? It looks so much fun.
I want to do nothing but a spindle drone army.
They need to keep the momentum up.
Yeah.
For all the releases, they really need to keep the momentum up. So, I mean, 8th Ed, as much as we talk about the variations in the codices, it's certainly the edition that has the most balance between the armies. Yeah. That's true. That's definitely true. It's still not there yet. We're still not at a point where there is a level of fair play between all the armies, where they're all given the same amount of attention. That's definitely true. But it really looks like they're going hard for that. I mean, the fact that they pluck the Necrons out of obscurity.
Yeah.
And are using them as one of the poster children. That's very hopeful.
Yeah.
That's very hopeful indeed.
They've really pushed the Necrons, and that makes me overjoyed.
Me too, and what they've done with them is amazing. They look great.
It is. They've taken them right back down to basics and rebuilt from scratch. It's they've made them fascinating again, which I would actually make the argument that they haven't been since their...
Not for a while.
Yeah, since their second codex.
And they've gone big, haven't they? I mean, like really big, not just in terms of the miniatures, but like in the scale. They obviously want this to feel really epic. And have you noticed everything's had a power buff? Everything?
Yes. Yeah, everything seems a bit better now.
Right, weapons have got such higher damage and higher, some apocalyptic weapons out there. I was looking at the profile for the weapon carried by the, I can't remember what it's called. It's called the Locustus Destroyer or something like that. The floaty, the classic style of Necron Destroyer, basically. The Lord is carrying this weapon that's like multi-barreled. The stats for that thing are insane.
It can actually do some damage, unlike the previous heavy destroyers, which were...
Oh my god, yeah. Oh my god, it's insane. It really is incredible. It really looks like they want the game to be faster. They want it to be a little bit more destructive and epic. So, you've got units flying off the battlefield left and right. The big miniatures do really big, badass things. Zarek is mad. Zarek is just crazy as a miniature.
I think you've just got Zarek is mad. That works on a multitude of levels there, fella.
Yeah. Well, he's Demon Primarch level at least. He's a crazy miniature. But I'm hoping that every army's going to have their equivalent. I mean, some of them have already got it, obviously.
Yeah.
Like Mortarion for the Death Guard, obviously. Magnus for the Thousand Sons, obviously. A couple of examples in the Space Marine codices, like the Sanguinor, is it called? Or the Sanguinator, the sort of not quite maybe manifestation of Sanguinius, sort of, perhaps, kind of.
Yeah, somebody wakes up in the morning, thinks they're Sanguinius, and goes off to do some damage.
That's basically it, yeah. That should have sort of a similar stat line, insofar as I'm concerned. Roboot, obviously.
Gazgrul is, although powerful, he seems a little underpowered now, doesn't he?
Now he does. So maybe when the Orc Codex comes out, they could give him a bit of a Same with Abaddon. Abaddon needs a little bit of a Ahriman needs a little bit of a typhus. needs a little bit.
The thing is, the models are there for them, so they don't need to worry about making new models for them. All they need to do, like you say, is just tweak the rules a bit and just
tweak the rules.
How weird would it be if they brought out a new Abaddon for the next Chaos Codex? That would just be the strangest thing.
People would be angry.
Yeah, they would.
People would be angry at that.
They'd be angry, but they'd still buy the new one.
Oh, of course they would. Yeah, they'd complain and grumble, and then they buy it. Yeah, that's absolutely true. What they should do is release a version of Abaddon that's riding Dorgar.
No, the release a version of Abaddon that's riding the Vengeful Spirit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, how would you even manifest that? The Vengeful Spirit, it's massive.
You just get like the very like tip of a wing or something, and he's standing on it.
Yeah, it would have to be. It would have to be. My God. It does still exist. It's still out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Or he's just like riding a Blackstone Fortress like the guy from Doctor Strangelove.
Like the Planet Killer. Have him on the Planet Killer. Where did that go?
It went back to the Eye of Terror, I think.
Is it? I was going to say, it's still around.
Oh, yeah. I think he drove it back to the Eye of Terror.
After it got scuppered a bit. It's like one of those things that they've downplayed massively in the background.
Yeah, because it's too powerful. Yeah,
it is too, isn't it? It's too much. It could destroy planets,
without breaking a sweat. It's
right. It would have made some of the narrative campaigns a bit pointless. Like Cadia, chuck the Planet Killer at it. Done. Job's done.
Problem solved.
Vigilus, shoot the Planet Killer at it.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it, and I think I might have just made it up that he flew it back to the Eye of Terror.
No, I think you're right. There is a story, I can't quite remember it clearly, where it gets scuppered for reasons. I can't quite remember why. But it isn't destroyed.
No, it's just heavily damaged and it limps its way back.
That's right. It lists its way back to the Eye of Terror, yeah. That's happened. That happened to the Vengeful Spirit, didn't it? In the Vigilus campaign.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Did I get the two mixed up there? But
no. You are right. It happened to the Planet Killer earlier. I think maybe what happened is they transposed the background.
They'll be off the table of the law then for a while, just because the Eye of Terror really didn't have the resources and the manpower to rebuild one of those ships quickly. So I suppose they could use it as a good campaign push, like the return of the Planet Killer or something like that.
Definitely.
I do have to point out there is something weird about the codexes. Have you seen the codes for codexes?
Yes, yeah. Now this has been a point of contention because basically what it looks like, I'm not 100% sure yet, but it looks like you're not going to be able to purchase the codices digitally anymore. You're going to have to buy the app. You're going to have to subscribe to the app and then get the codices that way. So it's going to be a subscription service now.
Yeah, that's a bit of an issue. Now, on the plus side, if you cancel your subscription, you don't lose your digital. That's there. Yeah. So that's good, because that was a concern of mine, but nothing to be concerned about. But the thing that gets me is this code exists. Is it a one-use code? Because if it's not a one-use code, Reddit's going to be full of these by the end of the week.
Yeah, it's true.
They must be one-use.
It's true. They must be. I can't imagine they're not gonna be. You know,
that would be such a bad loophole if they'd left that in.
God Almighty, can you imagine?
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
I wonder what it means though for future codexes, like say for 10th edition. Like, do you then need to buy the next codex because you're on this subscription service and you've already got this one?
Yeah,
you probably will. I would imagine.
Yeah, you'd have to.
I'd imagine so. Yeah, like physically. Yeah, I'd assume so.
So, is the subscription service there to add in the extra rules? I don't want to say made up because that sounds insulting, but created along the way, like through White Dwarf. And stuff.
So and to update things.
So it's a weird patch. It's a weird patch of basically game updates.
Yeah, absolutely. So anything that comes out in like White Dwarf or in future campaign books, the Apple will automatically update it for your army. So I mean that's good. I like that.
Decent. I like that element of it, definitely.
I don't know. It is weird that you can't buy just a digital version.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they should really allow you to do that, just so you could just one-off buy the ones you want.
Yeah.
And the usefulness of that, it'll be useful for Space Marine players, sure, because they'll get updates out of the wazoo. Because again, we mentioned the poster boy, but if you're playing one of the more obscure armies like the Tau, who haven't got any kind of looking, or the Tyranids, who haven't got anything for a long time, how much is that like update service going to be worthwhile? It's difficult if you're playing multiple Warhammer army, 40k army, sure, that makes sense. If you're just playing one. I think that would be a little bit, well, to me at least, a little bit of a harder sell. Yeah. To be like, you might get updates, because that's how it should be phrased. You might get updates depending on if we make rules for them.
I suppose a way they could make it more worth people's while is give very definite schedules for updates, you know?
Yeah.
Which I know, under current circumstances, is really difficult.
Oh, of course
really
it is,
difficult.
I think that the app and the way that they're running the app, and it's worth saying that Games Workshop have licensed somebody to do this. Yeah, it's not there isn't 5 guys in Games Workshop itself making this app.
Right.
And I think that's something that kind of got lost along the way. That GW were very unhappy with the people who made the app when they managed to screw the pooch.
Oh really?
Yeah. The rumblings were that this thing was meant to be ready for launch, and it wasn't.
Oh.
It's GW have licensed the wrong word. What's the word I'm looking for? Contracted, I suppose. An outside company to do this because they themselves are not software developers.
Just they don't have the resources or the means to do
absolutely
it.
Absolutely not. So that was a bit of an anger thing, which you can understand because GW have been firing on all cylinders for the last 2 years, 3 years. So to have something be a negative response and not just...
I suppose, I imagine it was emphasised, wasn't it, because of that? Because so much has been so positive.
Yeah, completely.
Lately.
And I think for something like that, it's easy to fall on the negative side of it because it involves the app. The app is now attached to people's brain as being a bad thing.
Oh, as being negative, right. So there's already prior association.
Of course there is. And I think it's easy to fall down that path when it comes to something like this. You've got to remind yourself that you are getting the digital version of this with your physical version instead of having to buy a digital version and a physical version. And let's face it, the digital versions have been vastly overpriced.
Yes, that's true across the board, unfortunately. It's true of the Black Library novels as well.
And you think it's just a GW thing. It is not. Go look at TSR's digital-only stuff. Woo!
No, it's
There's
not, unfortunately.
no change in price.
It's true.
Yeah, and it's one of those sneaky little things that it happens, and I don't agree with it. I think if you're buying digitally, it should be at least half the price.
It should be cheaper. Yeah, it should be cheaper. Yeah, no doubt.
And it annoys me that it isn't. But that's Adam's negative corner out the way. What else is coming out and happening? Have you seen the Sister of Battle, everyone?
Yes.
Which one?
The McFarlane Toys Sister of Battle.
Oh, yes, definitely, yes.
It's good, innit? It's really nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something that I would buy, but I can appreciate the fact that it's out there. You know what I mean? It's the kind of thing that's going to get a lot of people into this stuff when they see it on toy shelves and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm fighting the urge. I'm going to be honest. I am really fighting the urge. I thought I might go for the unpainted versions because you know me, I love my Games Workshop grey. But I really like it. I think McFarlane Productions have done an amazing job, and I look forward to the inevitable second Sister of Battle that doesn't have a helmet. Because retooling is something we all know happens, and I bet you that's what's going to take place. Andy, you're more of a toy person than I am these days. What are your thoughts on the McFarlane Sister and Necron and Space Marine?
It's difficult to say because none of us have them in hand, so it's hard to know what the hand feel of these is like.
That's a good word.
The hand feel.
It's a very Canadian word.
I have stolen. Yeah. It is a very Canadian word. It's a good word. It's a descriptive word.
It's a good one.
I do think that she's going to have limited leg articulation, or especially around the hips, because she's got all the little pouches around. Yeah. She's got the beads, and she's also got the plastic loincloth. I think for customizers, it'll be interesting to see how easy that will be, the cloth at least, to remove that and replace that with an actual cloth cape.
Yeah.
Because I know some people like to do that kind of stuff. I wouldn't say the painting on her is very good, though.
No.
There's barely any paint on the figure at all.
Oh, is it quite matte? You know,
It's
quite.
yeah. They've got paint on the knees for the skulls. We've got paint on one tube around the throat, and a gold around the little iconography. Then paint on the 2 shoulder pads for the insignia, and then paint on the mask. And that looks about it. It's not very heavily painted.
Okay.
And that was kind of a little bit of a negative that people said about the Space Marine. People have said that the Necron is better because it seems like even though it's one color, it's had a wash kind of slopped over the top of it.
It's a little bit more detailed, yeah.
Yeah, but not massively. I think that to get one in hand is the most important thing to see if you like the feel of the figure.
Yeah.
I do want to get one at some point, but it's probably not a Sister of Battle. It's obviously going to be the Necron lad.
Yeah,
obviously.
The Necron looks great. Yeah. Same here. If I ever did get one, it would be the Necron, definitely.
I would want to paint it though as well because I don't like the color that they've used for it. I'd want to have it the same color as my very slowly put together army.
Yeah.
Of course.
So I don't know whether, and we need to know as well what are the best paints to use on these things.
On this particular kind of plastic.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
This will be
Because it's not the same as GW plastic for their models.
I'm
clearly.
going to guess this is probably. I'm looking at the grey Necron, and I don't think that's ABS, is it? I think that's softer than ABS.
It's a lot softer. Yeah.
It looks like it's going to have that very particular sort of rubbery feel to it, doesn't it?
Yes.
You know, which is very difficult to adhere paint to.
Yeah.
So, tricky.
That's why hopefully people on the Fluffenhammer will let us know once they get their hands on it, because we do have a few people who've customized the Bandai Space Marine.
Yeah.
Right. Brilliance.
So I'm sure they'll be more apt at figuring out what the better paints are to use on this kind of plastic shall be, and how to put. Like the important thing will be how easy is it to take apart.
Yeah.
So you can spray the paint on the figures, but without getting it within the joints.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Because you don't want to gum up the joints when you like doing a base coat or something like
No,
that.
definitely not.
But no, I do think they're interesting, and they are far more accessible than say the Bandai ones. And obviously Bandai's are very good, but they are very expensive, and they are very limited at the moment to 3 Space Marines.
Yeah.
The one that came out, the Ultramarine ones, and then we had the Salamander that was shown, and the
Imperial Fist.
Yeah. And they all have the same accessories, unfortunately.
If they did
which is a bummer.
a Dark Angel, I might be more interested.
Mitt robes and
everything.
everything.
But that's not going to happen, so I'm safe.
Yeah.
I'm safe. I like that.
But I do want McFarlane to do an Orc. It's one of those things. I've wanted a 40k Orc action figure since I was like 13.
McFarlane toys are the way to go.
Oh,
aren't
yeah.
they? I mean,
Here's the
given
thing, like, who do they do next? Because it seems like they've heavily lent into the CG cutscene.
Yeah.
So does that mean they'll go for just another Necron or another Space Marine or another... Well, probably not another Sister, because there was only really one Sister of Battle. Apart from, like you said, maybe with a head variant.
Yeah, and
So
that's
do they
going
just
to
go
happen.
and do... Do they do a Destroyer for the Necron, or do they do a Vanguard with a shield? Because the Vanguard with a shield might be asking a bit too much.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of detail.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Or do they go for another army, like you say, and maybe do an Orc or a Tyranid?
Come on,
or something like that.
Orc.
A Tyranid would be fun. A Gene Stealer, I'd like to see.
Yeah.
Oh,
Love to see a Gene Stealer.
God, I think I just had some kind of like palpitation. Gene Stealer action figure. Dare I dream?
That's the thing. It's going to be interesting to see where this goes, or if this is just kind of a
one-off.
Yeah, I can't imagine that they just do the stuff from the CG trailer and then be like done, unless the line just completely fails.
Yeah.
Which it could be a thing.
It's possible. I mean, I imagine what will happen is we'll see a few more sort of like cutscenes and trailers for later narrative campaigns, and that might be the spur for a new toy line.
Maybe, maybe they stagger them out that way. I could see that.
I would just like to point out that the artist proof versions, the blank ones, they are exclusive to Walmart. Just
I wonder what that means for the UK then. Does that... Well, that probably means they'll be exclusive. No, it'll be probably exclusive just to GW then at that point, I'm guessing.
Although not anymore. Walmart doesn't own Asda anymore.
No, that's true. It's been bought by 2 guys from petrol station money.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
Not like we got anything exclusive from Walmart anyway, so I can't say I'm too.
Oh, right. Interesting. It is fascinating.
It is. I really want to. I want someone to talk about the business side of this, how this came about, and why this happened. And obviously, I think it's going to be as simple as somebody went to McFarlane and went, "Do this," and McFarlane went, "All right then." But I want to know I want to talk to the designers behind the toys and stuff like that.
I mean, it's a way of getting the brand out there as well, isn't it? Like everything else, it's something that people will see at least, and then hopefully it will act as a gateway into the wider hobby.
Yeah, between this and the Marvel comic, that's really spreading the brand out there. But
better games, please. Where are the good games that you promised? Where were the games that weren't going to be shovelware? We haven't got any of those yet.
Ah, yes. So a decent video game. Come on, guys. There's such space in the market now for a decent 40k or AOS style video game, is there not?
Absolutely.
Yep, because Necromunda came out and apparently it's very buggy and not very good.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Come on, guys. I mean, this is video games and like tabletop hobby. It's a crossover, isn't it? It's a marriage made in heaven.
Yep.
I mean,
although interestingly enough, video game sales are slumping, whilst tabletop and RPGs are rising quickly.
Yeah,
which I find really interesting. There's
fascinating, isn't it?
A little paper I was reading about it, and it's down to the fact that people don't feel like they're connecting to other people whilst playing online.
Yeah.
That's
and
true.
also, I mean, there's also the other stuff involved as well, which is people are becoming more aware of the shady shenanigans of the video game industry and whatnot. And that's causing a bit of a backlash.
I'd also say the laziness of games companies who will make you pay for extra content.
Yeah.
Like the Marvel Avengers games, which is just full of trash and stuff.
Yeah, that's a proper trash fire like that.
There are still good games out there. There's still some very good games out there, but
there's some amazing work. Don't get me wrong, I love video games. I love them to bits. And
it's
a
harder
good
to
time
mine
be
out
in
the
it.
good ones, though, unfortunately.
Right. I mean, there's some amazing work out there, and
Yeah.
I can't sing its praises more highly, you know?
Are you going to get a Hades, George? Because that might be something you like. I think visually it'd be something you like, and from a since it's based in Hades, I think from that kind of standpoint, that might tickle you as well.
What's that? What's
The game, Hades.
Don't think I've heard of it.
Oh, you haven't heard of it? Okay, yeah. Have a check out of it.
That's a new one on me.
Yeah, you are Hades' son trying to get out of hell.
That sounds great.
Yeah, and you know he's a very nice boy, and his father is a disapproving father kind. He's the antagonist of the game, and it plays as the kind of top. It's not like Blasphemous, but it's that kind of roguelite kind of game where you progress as you go. Jim Sterling did a video on it recently, and he gave it. He said it was his game of the year so far.
Okay, I'm gonna have to have a look at that then. Definitely. Dear me, lots of video games at the moment. I've just finished actually my Pathologic 2.
How long did that take you in the end?
50 plus videos. It's a long one.
Yeah.
It's a long one. Best video game I've ever played.
Wow.
Best video game ever played.
It is a very George kind of game, I think, from what I saw of it.
Yeah, it's broken, it's unfinished, it's buggy. Best game ever played. It's amazing. It's a quantum leap. There's nothing like it. There is nothing like it in all the world. It's the great Russian novel of video games. It's just put almost everything else into the shade.
Wow, okay, that's a hell of a sentence.
But a lot of people will hate it.
It is very Marmite. Very Marmite.
Yeah, I know people who loathe it. Because it's so evil, it's so difficult. Deliberately so. It's a game that hates you as the player.
Like Myst.
Yeah, it just loathes you. And it's very deliberate. It's very deliberate. The game makes it overt. You know, there are certain things it does, like there's a survivalist element to it, right? Where you have to keep your character fed, you have to keep them watered, you have to keep them rested, otherwise you start to die, basically. And there's a particular economy that works within the setting, and the game keeps changing the fucking economy. So it will introduce new situations that alter the economy. So the little town that you're operating in, there's a point where a plague hits and the town becomes sequestered, right? And because of that, hyperinflation occurs. So all the money and all the valuables that you've been hoarding to get food at the shop suddenly becomes absolutely worthless. It's evil. It's an evil game. It's brilliant. It's just the most amazing piece of work. Go and watch Sulmatul's videos on it, because Sulmatul has done 3-hour theses dissecting Pathologic.
Oh, cool.
And H Bomber Guy has done a 3-hour video dissecting the themes of Pathologic, because it can be read like a text. You could do your university dissertation or thesis on this. It's an incredible piece of work.
I'm very interested in going and reading about this and looking at videos now.
I would. That's how I came to it. I'd never heard of it before. It's so obscure. It's such this weird little indie game from Ice Pick Lodge, but it's beautiful.
I heard about it through Mandalore Gaming, I think he's called.
Yes, Mandalore did a series of videos on it, again extolling its virtues, you know. It's an amazing piece of work. It's frustrating, it's annoying, it's evil. There's no balance in it at all. It's not meant to be balanced. It's not fair. It's not meant to be fair. It's just wonderful. It's a brilliant piece of work. I can't get over how good it is. It's one of those games. It's become a formative text. It's kind of smacked me around the face and just shown me what the medium is capable of.
I'm fascinated by this. I'm going to have to go and look at it.
I would highly advise it. It's one of those games where, yeah, it's amazing. It's absolutely brilliant, but so many people will hate its guts.
Yeah.
It's not the kind of game you play for fun.
Right, okay.
That's what I would say. It's not the kind of game you play for fun. It's an experience. It's an experiential game. I'll be going back to it because there are multiple different outcomes depending on how you operate when you're playing the game. And I would love to get the other endings. I would love to see how it comes out.
Okay.
It'll be a while though, because it's demanded a lot. It's a creative. It feels like a creative exercise playing the damn thing.
Does it feel exhausting to actually experience?
Yeah, it definitely does, emotionally and on every, because you're operating at such a level of tension all the way through. Throughout the entire game, you are starving, you are dying of thirst, you're often infected with this damn disease, and you're just desperate all the time. You're rooting in bins and things. You're robbing people's houses, trying to find food or the means to barter for food. You're trying to avoid plague victims. You're trying to do all of these different tasks and missions, and because you're a doctor. You're a doctor and you're trying to save everyone in this town that's being afflicted by this plague, and trying to figure out the cause of it, where it comes from, all the while there's all this metaphysical stuff that's being thrown at you, so you don't know whether the disease is a biological thing or whether it's a spiritual or abstract disease. It's so weird and so cool, and it does stuff with narrative no video game does.
Okay. I'm fascinated by this, but anyhow.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to move on.
It's on the PS4 store. Pathologic 2. It's about £15. Go play it. It's great.
Yeah, I don't have a PlayStation, but I'm going to go.
It's on Steam as well. I'm pretty sure
it's on Steam as
well. I'm going to go watch videos because I don't get the chance to play the games. But is there anything that jumped out for anybody else that anything would? I'll say that again, but in English. Is there anything else that anybody saw that they want to quickly discuss and talk about?
Well, I suppose there was the Hero Quest situation.
Yes,
was there not?
Was. There was indeed.
I mean,
so Hero Quest has got a redesign and a relook, and it's been redone and it's been re-released. I think it's past the 2 million now, has it? So I think that they are working towards a UK release.
Oh, fingers crossed.
I'm sure I saw that somewhere.
Fingers crossed.
Are you telling me that Hero Quest is popular and people want to buy it?
Yes, indeed.
Madness.
Certainly looks that way.
Crazy.
What's everyone's thoughts on it, by the way?
I like it. I've looked through it. I like it a lot. It looks like Hero Quest. It looks essentially like Hero Quest. It looks like they haven't changed too much.
They've changed the style.
Yeah, well, they've changed the style to remove it from the sort of Games
Yeah.
Workshop stuff, obviously.
It's very
'cause they don't wanna
Pathfinder.
get sued in, they don't want to get sued into oblivion, which makes sense. Makes sense. I mean, what are they calling the Chaos Warriors now?
Dread Warriors.
Dread Warriors.
Yep.
Fine.
Yeah, I've got no issue with any of that. The art looks nice. The sculpts are quite nice.
Fine.
The fact that they've got Pathfinder-style goblins makes me happy, because I freaking adore Pathfinder goblins. They're
fundamentally the same game by the looks of it.
Yeah, it doesn't look any different.
I'm excited. If I can get a copy of it, I'll be very, very pleased.
Yeah, it's. I was annoyed that it looked like there was going to be no UK release.
I was very annoyed by that.
I'm just trying to find out if I can see if they've
That
actually announced
soured
it.
me a little. I understand.
Absolutely.
I get it, but I was a bit sour on that.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm on the a Discord for Under Consultation, which is a Games Master retrospective podcast, which is one of the best podcasts out there, to be honest with you. It's fascinating to listen to. And it was weird that one of the hosts came onto the Discord and just went, "I've just seen the new Hero Quest. I didn't think Hero Quest would be the thing that broke me in 2020.
No, not in 2020, definitely not. But no, it's lovely to see it. It's lovely to see it. It also precipitated the return of the Bard to YouTube, which was nice.
Yep.
That was very nice to see.
It's always good to see John.
Yeah, that was fun. If we can get it, I'll be so pleased, because once this once the Backstreet Boys reunion tour is finished, I will be taking it to friends and evangelizing about it madly.
Yeah, I mean, I've got my original and I've got my Advanced Quest. I don't have Advanced Hero Quest though, which is a real. It's a hole in my collection. And I actually took a copy of Keller's Keep this week.
Oh, wow.
So, and I'm watching a copy of Return of the Witch Lord now.
Brilliance. Absolute brilliance.
Is it the same one that you showed me a few weeks ago, or a week ago or so?
Yes.
Or is this a new one?
Yeah, that's Keller's Keep.
Okay.
Yeah, so I won that, and it turned up yesterday.
Oh, sweet. Cool.
So that's good. So I'm watching a copy of Return of the Witch Lord, but that's now £140, so that might be getting a bit too rich for my blood.
Yeah, just getting there.
Yeah.
Just getting
if it passes
there.
45, then that's me out.
It's a bit much for the add-on. That is a little.
It is,
much.
yeah, especially when I paid 90 for my copy of Hero Quest and 20, I think, for my copy of Advanced Quest. Something like it, because I found Advanced Quest in a charity shop. I just walked past it and
So
what?
Good. I love it when that happens. Love it when that happens.
Just jumped through the window, smash.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, there's not going to be a Space Crusade equivalent.
No,
very clearly.
I very much doubt that Space Crusade is going to get any form of love or care. It's one of those things. I do have to point out as well that something I've just noticed is the the new Black Library Necron book. Has anyone noticed that the Necrons have Muppet mouths?
I'd have noticed, yes.
Yeah. just something that amused me. Right then, so if there's nothing else, shall we start closing things down?
Yeah, sure.
Andy, where can people find you if they wish to find you?
Well, if they wish to find me, you can go to Twitter, CCTFW. You can find me on YouTube as Cobra Commander TFW. You can find my podcast, the Moonbase 2 podcast, on YouTube, Facebook, Libsyn, most places if you type in Moonbase 2. We do Transformers and whatnot every week and talk about comics and stuff. And you can head over to Twitch, and I'm on Twitch as CCTFW there. On Fridays, I do XCOM with 40k mods, and every other day I'm streaming some kind of video game, so that's always fun. And that's it for the most part. Yeah, I think that's all the important stuff at least.
Excellent. Are you planning? Just as an aside, are you planning on doing the new Demon Souls at all, Andy?
If it's on PlayStation 5 only, then no.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to buy one console for one game, no matter how much I want to play it. That's why it took so long for me to play Bloodborne.
Right.
And also, then I'd need to buy capture card stuff so I could stream it onto my PC. So that would even be more of an expense, which I couldn't do.
And not to mention also a pain in the backside.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
I had to do that for my Final Fantasy VII playthrough. It was fun figuring that out.
Yeah. And to make it stream as well, it's different. I think it might be different than just outright recording it, but I'm not sure. So unfortunately, unless Demon Souls comes to Steam, which I don't think it will.
I don't think so. I think it's a PS4 exclusive.
I like Bloodborne. I have a feeling that'll be the case, unfortunately.
Darn it. Oh, well.
Yeah. I'll get to watch you play it, though. And,
you will.
And cry.
When I can get my hands on a PS5, yes.
Yeah. Here's a quick tip. Never be an early adopter of technology. It's never a good idea. Always wait.
I know. I'm waiting to see what happens with this first.
I'm going to buy
a wise choice.
I'm going to buy an Xbox One just after Christmas. Because they'll be cheaper then.
They will.
Why didn't you get a PS4?
Yeah, get a PS4. Play Bloodborne.
I don't like the PlayStation.
It's got a lot more unique games to it. Because if you're getting a newer PC, or you plan to get a new PC, so all those games you could play, you could just play those on the PC, and then any other kind of more unique game you could play on the PlayStation 4.
You misunderstand. What I want to get an Xbox One for isn't to play games. It's so I can put like Netflix and Amazon and everything onto one thing, and then just play the games I've already got, because I just like to play Fable and Minecraft.
Okay.
Oh. Well, to be fair, if you get a new PC, you can play Minecraft on PC.
True. I just don't.
And we could play together. I could invade your world.
Yes. Well, I suppose we could play it on Twitch. You could Twitch. You could Twitch away, and I could just like build some kind of giant dread fortress and just overshadow you and just sit on the top of it, throwing rocks at your head.
And I could build poo outside of your buildings.
And I could steal your bed.
Oh no, that's where I sleep and do things in.
Or just like wait till you're not playing, go into the world and just replace everything 2 layers down with TNT. And just put a little switch somewhere saying do not press and just wait to see.
Kaboom.
As for myself, you can find the Fluffenhammer at fluffenhammer.weebly.com. You can find us on YouTube, where next week a Hero Quest series will be going up, which is a cinematics of every quest.
Oh.
So every quest intro will be done in a cinematic PlayStation 2 style, because I'm a fucking idiot. So if you want a little bit more gravitas to your Hero Quest games, you can play the YouTube videos and then start the games.
Oh, that's fun.
So something a bit silly and a bit fun to do.
I like that.
You can also find us on Discord, you can find us on Patreon, and you can find us on TeePublic, where there are t-shirts to sell, or links below. And I want to leave you with a little quote. When J.K. Rowling said, somewhat condescendingly in 2005, that she was not a huge fan of the fantasy genre and wanted to subvert it with Harry Potter. Sorry, the smile just...
No comment.
The smile always came through there. Pratchett was so annoyed enough that he wrote to the London Sunday Times and said, I would have thought that the wizards, witches, trolls, unicorns and hidden worlds would maybe have given her a clue. And then gave a further point that the genre has always been edgy and inventive. With that, I say good night. Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
future.